So we left chapter 9, but I shouldn't have. There's more to evaluate. I use that term gently. Robin DiAngelo has a bunch of behaviors and assumptions that she says block any entry point for reflection and engagement. So if any of us carry these behaviors or assumptions, then we can't talk to them. Now remember, they can't talk to us. Now remember, talking in the first place to Ms. DiAngelo requires some trust, but she comes at it with, well, if you're born with a certain skin color, you're racist and you can't be trusted. So I don't know how conversation can possibly exist. Let me give you what overarches this, her behaviors. She's got 8. 7 of these 8, at least, are going to be common when in one of Robin DiAngelo's seminars. Focusing on intentions, seeking absolution. The person who committed a racist act wants to no longer feel guilty. Avoiding, arguing, emotionally withdrawing, physically leaving. That's 7. The final one is crying, and I don't blame people for doing that in one of those seminars either. Now, those assumptions, they include, ready? A criticism for saying that racism is a conscious and only conscious bias. I have none, so I'm not racist. Very reasonable. I have friends of color, so I can't be racist. Very reasonable as well. And Ms. DiAngelo will just wipe these out and say, but you're really racist nevertheless. Entry points cannot be discussed with that kind of definition and these kind of assumptions. Now, chapter 10. It's called White Fragility and the Rules of Engagement. Okay, remember, these are going to be made-up rules. I think our society has instead evolved some pretty good rules. They're called culture, civility, for engagement that generally works pretty well. And the U.S., in the modern United States, has worked remarkably well from having a very divided, segregated, and yes, at times, hateful towards one another group of black and white. It's almost gone. In a large group, it's not at all. Okay, there are a few Aryan white supremacist groups out there. They're few and far between, and they don't want to show their faces because the rest of society is going to put them back. Okay, there are a few hateful blacks, but I don't think as a group they're a very large group either. So the civility that we've had over the last 50 years is remarkable. The accomplishments that as a governing society is incredible too. Ask Condoleezza Rice, who reflected soon after she stepped down as Secretary of State. She said, when I was a girl growing up in Alabama, the thought that a black girl could be a cabinet official was like insane. Okay, that was from the early 60s. And 45 years later, she is that cabinet official. It's very impressive.